Good evening, my fellow classmates. Tonight I shall revisit The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. What is it about? If you guys don't mind, I wrote a little summary of my own. Basically, our narrator, who is never named, has been proposed to by a very wealthy man. She accepts against both her mother and old nurse's wishes. The narrator and her husband take a train to settle into his castle of murder, and she is amazed by it. After he, excuse the term, deflowers her, he goes away on a supposed business trip, leaving her with the keys to every lock in the house. He forbids her from entering one particular room, and of course, she looks anyway. There she finds the dead bodies of all three of her husband's late wives. She panics. He returns home early, and she is caught. After that, he places a bloody key on her forehead, marking her forever. Then, as he is about to decapacitate the narrator, her mother comes riding up on a horse and shoots her husband. She soon returns home to marry the castle's piano tuner, who has been kind to her in the story, giving the castle and wealth away to charities. So now I'm going to read you a 2-minute extract, approximately 2-minute extract. Anyway, it's a page, 2 pages long probably. That should be enough. I scrubbed my forehead with a nail brush as I had scrubbed the key, but this red mark would not go away either. No matter what I did, I knew I should wear it until I died, though that would not be long. Then I went to my dressing room and put on that white muslin shift, costume of a victim of an auto da fe he had bought to me to listen to the Leibstad Inn. 12 young women combed out 12 listless sheaves of brown hair in the mirrors. Soon there would be none. The mass of lilies that surrounded me exhaled, now the odor of their withering. They looked like the trumpets of the angels of death. On the dressing table, coiled like a snake about to strike, lay the ruby choker. Already almost lifeless, cold at heart, I descended the spiral staircase to the music room, but there I found I had not been abandoned. "I can be of some comfort to you," the boy said, "though not much use." We pushed the piano stool in front of the open window so that for as long as I could, I would be able to smell the ancient reconciling smell of the sea that, in that time, would cleanse everything. Scour the old bones white, wash away all the stains, everything. The last little chambermaid had trotted along the causeway long ago. Now the tide, faded as I, came tumbling in, the crisp wavelets splashing on the old stones. "You do not deserve this," he said. "Who can say what I deserve or no?" I said. "I've done nothing, but that may be sufficient reason for condemning me." "You disobeyed him," he said. "That is sufficient reason for him to punish you." "I only did what he knew I would." That was great, wasn't it? Hey, anyway. So basically I like this story because it has a lot of gothic tropes. Like, for example, it relates a lot with our coursework. There's that creepy castle, and there's the gore and blood and everything. I also like the language he uses. That's not... Wait, let me look at my notes. I'll quote from the book, okay? There's a quote from the book that describes the ruby choker as he puts it on her neck. So, I'll read it to you. "He made me put on my choker, the family heirloom of one woman who had escaped the blade. With trembling fingers, I fastened the thing about my neck. It was cold as ice and chilled me. And he kissed those blazing rubies too. He kissed them before he kissed my mouth. Wrapped," he intoned, "of her apparel she retains only her sonorous jewelry." I liked it because if you read in between the lines, the ruby choker is basically acting as a symbol of what was to come. Because in the end, the husband plans to cut off her head, so there would be the red mark there on her neck, right? So the ruby chokers are meant to represent that. I like the way how Angela Carter talks about all these things that the narrator doesn't like, but then she knows it's gonna happen by letting the reader read in between the lines in regards to the rubies and the white lilies, because lilies, as we know, are usually associated with death. They are the flowers that we leave on graves. So the fact that her husband always presents her with lilies, that's like a clue that the husband Angela Carter tells us that the heroine is fated to die. Although it's ironic because in the end she doesn't die and the husband dies. So okay. So why I like it. Well, so far I've only read a few of Angela Carter's novels. I mean, short stories. But as far as from the ones I read, what I really enjoyed the most was The Bloody Chamber. Because, I liked it so much I had to get my own copy because I couldn't wait for Sirs. Anyway, I liked it a lot because it had, I thought it really fit in well with our coursework studies with the Gothic and Supernatural. And when it comes to horror, I'm not really fond of the ghosts and the monster sense. I'm more interested in the horror aspect of the human mind. When like her husband, the narrator's husband, for example, is a psychopath. I'm more interested in that. That's why I preferred Angela Carter. And I also like how she twists fairy tales in her stories, because The Bloody Chamber is like a twist of Beauty and the Beast, because the Beast would not let Beauty go into the West Wing. So yeah, well, basically that's not it. Interesting language. Angela Carter, the way she writes her novels, her short stories, I like it because she builds up tension by using short sentences or like one-word sentences. She also uses a lot of eloquent language, like sonorous jewelry. It's really elegant and all that. So I'm planning, hopefully, to take Angela Carter as my inspiration for my coursework, but then who knows? The deadline's coming, and I only have a few months left. But then, yeah, I'm considering to do Angela Carter because mainly I like her idea on twisting a fairy tale and making it into a dark horror thing. Plus, she does not rely on ghosts and everything. She relies more on the horrors of the human mind. Like, how would you feel if you were stuck in that castle with that guy? Or, for you guys, if you were stuck with a girl who was like that, right?